We're the Young Indie Chroniclers podcast, and we're producing a new feature-length documentary, George Lucas, The Lost Golden Age.
George Lucas was going to do this Lawrence of Arabia scale epic on a 16-millimeter budget.
You got a chance to have the same adventure making the show as what Indy was doing.
His stuff is really quite political.
You didn't think I was going to run, did you?
I learned that when George says he wants to ultimately change or fix something, that he was going to do it.
We built a Kickstarter campaign to support the film. Late pledges are available now at Kickstarter.com.
Hello there. Welcome to Force Ghost Conversations. This podcast is your home for cozy deep dives into all things Star Wars and Lucasfilm adjacent properties. This is your host, Anthony King, and each week I will be joined by fans, creators, and believers in the principles from the galaxy far, far away to discuss the thematical elements from our favorite Lucasfilm properties. And without further ado, it is time to gather around the campfire for some Force Ghost Conversations. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Force Ghost Conversations, your cozy home for deep dive discussions into all things Star Wars and the Lucasfilm adjacent properties. This is, of course, Anthony King, your host and adventurer along this great journey here. And, this is a fantastic episode. I'm just going to put that out there, folks, both in terms of the content of, wow, we're talking about Maul Shadow Lord episodes 5 and 6, but also the main chunk of our episode, which is, of course, discussing those two episodes, is a blast. We, of course, have a brand new guest on the show here this week for you all. It will be Hannah from the Raeside, who is just a spectacular content creator all across the internet. And go support her, of course, everywhere that you can. And it's just a blast having her on the show and talking about these episodes. And boy, do we get really into the thematics of this whole thing and speculate on where this can go in the future, what this means for the characters as they currently exist. I think you're going to have a blast with it. So I hope you stay tuned for our larger conversation after this segment here, which is Cloud City Gossip, where we talk about the news and happenings in the Star Wars and Lucasfilm adjacent galaxy over the past week. And of course, once I'd recorded this segment last week, then a brand new trailer, the final trailer, if you will, for The Mandalorian and Grogu, that little film coming out at the end of May, dropped. Now, I will say I have watched it once, and there wasn't a whole lot of, I would say, new things in there. So that's why I didn't really do a breakdown coverage of it or a whole extra episode. And frankly, I don't need to see or want to see anymore the rest of the way through here. So it is available. It is online. If you want to go check it out, there are many places that you can do so. Additionally, on May 4th, IMAX theaters across the country, there's a select number of them, are going to be showing a 25-minute preview of The Mandalorian and Grogu. So if you're in one of those areas, again, they're all available online where you can check those out. And if there are tickets still available, because I think they also have been super successful on marketing that as well, be on the lookout for that. Maybe you can catch some great glimpses of what this film is going to offer just later on in the end of the month here. They're also going to be starting the world tour for that pretty soon here, and I saw many cities across the globe that they're going to be unveiling this film at with various premieres and I guess activities as well. So if you're a global person in one of the largest cities across the globe, you're probably in the crosshairs of this premiere season for The Mandalorian and Grogu. And speaking of The Mandalorian and Grogu, while we're all on that same topic here, May 22nd is the official transfer date for Walt Disney World and Disneyland for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run to switch over to the new overlay with the Mandalorian and Grogu components to that. So we'll probably do an episode later this summer once the Mandalorian and Grogu season has died down, and we'll probably do a larger discussion on that and what it means for the ride in Galaxy's Edge moving forward. So be on the lookout for that as more details come out, and of course we experience it. That's another key component, I would say, to the whole endeavor of it all. And last on the news front that I wanted to highlight for everybody, speaking of parks again, is that for May 4th, there is a plethora of new Star Wars food and beverage items offered both at Disneyland, I think Disneyland Paris too, and of course Walt Disney World here. We're at Hollywood Studios. They're finally getting the pink milk. Now, I hope that doesn't mean that green milk is going. I hope that it's just we exist in a world where all three milks can exist. But I'll be boots on the ground in May to kind of check some of these out. Maybe I'll do some food testing for some of the new options because they got some new stuff at Oga's. They got some new stuff over at Docking Bay. They got some stuff, of course, at the milk stand, and just kind of a variety of other things across, at least for Hollywood Studios as well. But Disneyland Paris is also, again, like I mentioned, and of course, Disneyland has even the Star Wars night too that they're going to be doing in April and May, I believe, and they get their own special food items for that too. So those lucky ducks over there really get to experience all the fun and joy that we don't necessarily get to over on the East Coast. Folks, that is all the news that I had for this week's episode of the podcast. Why don't we just dive right into our main topic discussion, which will be on the other side of this very short break. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Force Ghost Conversations. We are officially more than halfway through Maul, Shadow Lord, Season 1 at this point, because we got Season 2 coming around the corner here, folks. Maybe next year, who knows? But as of now, for what we know is coming down the pipeline for these 10 episodes, we're a little bit over halfway. And we are here, of course, to chat about episodes 5 and 6 from the first season of Maul, Shadow Lord. And guess what? We have a brand new guest on the show. We have Hannah from the Raeside. Hannah, welcome to Force Ghost Conversations, and how are you doing?
Thank you so much. I am doing wonderfully. I am so excited to be here. When I saw your email, I was just so thrilled to just any opportunity to talk about this show and to chat about it with you. I, of course, then went and studied all your previous podcasts, had a good listen, and I'm like, who is this guy? But no, I was like, yes, we need to sit down and chat about the show. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here and so excited to get into it.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad to have you here. And yes, glad to also confirm real person, not just a spam email coming through, because I'm sure you might get 100 of those throughout the day like I do.
Yeah, there's some good ones out there. Hey. Oh, so good.
Well, now that we're officially halfway through the season, Hannah, I want to temperature check here on the show. What are your overall thoughts and impressions at this point in the juncture?
Yeah, great question. I think it's I don't have a specifically crazy different take because wonderfully with this show, everyone loves it, including me. And it has just been a wonderful time watching this show just completely, I don't know, be unexpectedly as great as it is. I was excited for the show. I'm a big fan of Star Wars animation, very much looking forward to it coming out. All the live shows, doing all the countdowns, excited for it. And still with all that hype, that fan hype, the show itself is exceeding my expectations. And that is just so wonderful to enjoy as a fan, to just really sink your teeth into the story. And, it's been 6 episodes and I just feel like we've been with the show much deeper. Like there's so much depth to the show already. And we've been with it longer than we have because even though these are 6 episodes and each episode is barely ticking over 22 minutes long.
Right.
So it's what I can't even do the math on that quick enough. It's 2 hours of content we've only got so far.
And only 3 weeks.
yeah. It's just, but I feel like there's this just whole world of lore and interest that it's opened up for Star Wars and it's wonderful. So I'm so excited by the characters that we've been introduced to by, Devon and Lawson, individually, they're just such interesting characters. And then all of this to just point towards Maul being this ever, sinister character within Star Wars and proving to be such a interesting villain. We have the Darth Vaders and it's hard to sort of follow villains in Star Wars because, really that thing of like, how can you top Vader? But Maul as this villain is still as, so individually complex and interesting and that's been proven so far in the show. And it's just like, these final 4 episodes, which sounds so sad that we only got 4 more.
For now.
I'm just, right? It's just so exciting to just see, how's it going to end up? What's he going to do next? That energy has just been so fun to watch along to. So, loving it.
I'm going to yes and you here. I've been loving the show too. This has been a fantastic ride and subverted the expectations a bit, because I think my initial fear going into this, if I had any, was that like, are they going to overuse Maul to the point of like, I don't need to see any more, right? Because I felt like, especially, the first sequence was great, right? For the first episode where he comes off the ramp and he just goes full badass,
Absolutely.
hallway sequence and that happened a couple times in those episodes, right? I'm like, okay, how many times can you keep doing this before it just gets stale? But the attempts of him to seduce Devon to the dark side has been really this like juicy aspect to the show that I didn't know I needed. And frankly, the way that they've really fleshed out some of these ancillary characters, like you're mentioning already, Lawson, Devon, Iko Diodaki too, I would add to the mix, is just like the special soup that keeps growing, or maybe the tea, right? It's the tea leaves that they keep throwing into this.
Let's do the tea analogy. I like that. Yeah.
So it just makes this show so much richer. And I'm curious about your thoughts. I've been asking the guests as we've been going through this journey here what they think about it is. But the tone, the tone obviously is dark, but I guess the slower pace has been, I think, a fresh approach to the show that I really wasn't anticipating coming into this. I thought we'd have gotten more of that, maybe more Bad Batch style, where it's an episode of the week kind of deal with like some large overarching mission for the season kind of deal. What do you think about the pace of this show so far? I guess is the larger question.
It's so interesting because in some aspects it is quite slow, and if you look at it as a whole, it's what we've covered, like 3 days maybe on Janix, of like a couple of days, or really. So in that aspect, it is quite a slow show in universe, but also I think from the audience point of view, there's also a quickness to it, and it's not a rush. It's not a forced quickness. It's a very, I think, specifically for the action sequences and for the events that they want to fold, how they unfold and how they kind of transform into the next sort of moment. Devon being captured in the precinct, then she escapes because of Maul, and then Varya is captured. It's so weird that it's slow, but it's also not for me. I really find I'm enjoying that we're stationary in the sense that we're still on Janix. We're still finding out about what Maul is doing right now and what his objectives are. And we're finding about these supporting characters that is building up this story to be what it is. We're spending time with that. I've almost missed that in Bad Batch. As much as I loved it, it is an episode of a week show, and you just take it as is. And, you get those cool houses, a cool clone, but he was in the show for like an episode and a half, maybe. It's just these flash in the pan sort of things. But this show is really taking its time to establish the environment that we're in of this planet Janix, and that is so I've so enjoyed that process. But then again, contradicting myself completely. It's just, but the sequences are actually fast. We're actually doing a lot of things in one episode.
Yeah.
I think both aspects they've just married those two aspects so well to take our time to understand what's happening, but also we are killing people, we are killing stormtroopers, we are jumping out of windows, we are on top of roofs very quickly in this show. So it's been fantastic, the pace for me.
Absolutely. And again, yes, handing you here, right? It's because I think this is so fresh and unique take on it. I hope that Star Wars Animation takes some great lessons from this moving forward here. And I have no doubts that they absolutely will. It's so, I don't know about you, but every time I finish, or at least I'm watching the episodes for the first time, I'm like, oh, is this the end? Like, it feels like it goes by so fast, but like you're saying at the same time too, it's that contradictory piece of, wow, they were just kind of stationary in the same room talking about this, or they had a meeting, like maybe two plot beats happened, and you're like, wow, 25 minutes went by just like in a finger snap here. Like, what do we? I have to wait till next week for more? That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny, but it's where the episode ends. It always baffles me how much. Like it doesn't feel complete, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Like I feel very okay being like, oh, okay, this is where we're ending. And I think that sensation is very symbolic of if a show is good or not. is, because sometimes you just watch an episode and go, okay, that was that episode. That was a weird story.
A
That was
good
bit
one,
odd.
and we'll wait till next week.
Yeah, or just like, okay, let's just move on from that, whatever that was. But that feeling at the end being like, that's the end, that's it. Like that feeling you're saying, I so get and I feel, and I'm like, I actually love that I feel that, because that means it really is a good show. And we're really actually truly loving the story that we're being taken on. So good. So good.
Agreed. Well, going from last week, which had a major cliffhanger at the end, right? The introduction of the Empire in this series. The Empire is now all over Janix. Do you think that their inclusion will either threaten or enhance Maul's goals and overall plan?
I think it's got to be threatened naturally.
Okay.
Naturally, it's got to be threatened, because as much as Maul is creating this structure and this syndicate and what to run here, it's not in line with what the Empire wants to be happening. And so I think very quickly, like I'm surprised we didn't see it even more in these episodes 5 and 6, but I definitely think the next 2 episodes we'll sort of maybe see, like, that the Maul and Devon relationship, see what happens there. But I think immediately we're going to see Maul going, okay, we got to get out of here. I thought we were going to live on this and live kind of, side by side with the Empire, but we can't actually do this. They are even worse than the police. They are worse than the police department we sort of have and established on Janix. They're worse than this. We do have to get out of here. And maybe, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but maybe the end of the season is that decision, and that's the sort of cliffhanger being like, okay, we're off Janix. Where do we go now? And then that's our sort of bait into season 2, going, okay, well, how do we avoid the Empire? So I definitely think it's a threat for Maul overall to his mission. His mission that he's sort of stated of enacting revenge on all these people that have let him down and that have betrayed him in a sense, but also is establishing his own power and a hand in the galaxy and what he wants to be running, really. But which we sort of allude to in Solo, that he's built up his own empire of sorts by then.
Yeah.
So I think he realizes, maybe it's on Janix, he goes, yeah, I can't stay in this one place. We've got to make it mobile, make this syndicate mobile.
Well, it's interesting that you I like your speculation on that front, because his number 2, I'm forgetting her name right now, voiced by the incredible Vanessa Marshall.
Rook.
Yes, Rookcast. Yes. That's her point, is like, hey, we got to hightail it out of here. Right, the Empire is here. Like, what are we doing here? We should not be here. This is ruining the plan, or whatever. Maybe it's not the plan as it is, but like, we got to adjust because of this here. And I guess to your point, what you're speculating here, forgive me if I'm misreading the tea leaves here, is that eventually Maul sees, like, oh, that is what we should be doing instead. Like, I am out of my depth here, because who knows what else happens the rest of the season here. Marrok maybe calls somebody else and they come in and help out. And we'll get to the Marrok of it all. But it's interesting, because I think in his mind, he's trying to be an opportunist here. At least in what this episode presents, he's like, oh, the Empire's here. I might be able to weasel something out of this here. And I'm not really sure what his full plan is yet. I know where he ends up in Solo, obviously, and we got some ground to fill up there. But it's interesting how he's not like, all right, we're getting out of here. Shadows are approaching. Yeah. We got to retreat back into things. It's too much. And versus, Diodaki and Devon are like, oh, we should try to get out.
Yeah,
we're out of our depth here.
Hide in a forest immediately. That's really their plan.
Yeah,
that is a good point. That, well, if we're assuming and reading into that's really his stance on the Empire, saying, oh yeah, this is gonna ruin my syndicate plans. Yeah, why isn't he just getting out of there, which is fascinating. And I guess to answer our own question of that, I guess it still was that thing of he wanted Devon before he really packed up and left. He really wants this, goal of an apprentice. And he, sort of half had it with Savage Press and Clone Wars, but it was this weird, he was his brother thing. And It wasn't
Right.
as just traditional young apprentice with powers for him to mold, where I think, especially at this point, he gave that offer to Ahsoka essentially. Not he didn't exclusively say be my apprentice, Ahsoka, but that offer of join me and we can make change, to defeat the evil in this galaxy. And she denied that, but essentially Maul in pretty much a very similar, almost the same way, has given that exact same offer to Devon.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that whole sort of temptation for him there to go, I could have
Yeah.
this apprentice that is force sensitive, that knows the way, but if I just tell her the Jedi is the wrong way, then I can have this person that could really help me. As much as I think he appreciates his Mandalorian assistants and Rook
Yeah, his
being
squad
there
and his
he's
and
got,
his buddies.
yeah, he's but yeah, I'm like, who are these? Icarus and
Icarus, yeah.
what's the other guy's name? Is Stank or something? He's got some ridiculous name. It's he's got those buddies, but I think you can tell he wants this like one powerful like Padawan to really sort of have his own. So I think that must be really the only reason why he's like, okay, before we just pack up our encampment and go, he wants Devon. He needs Devon, if I will.
It's like his big attachment in some way, right? It's like this need for a apprentice, and whatever the end goal is, right? I'm still very intrigued and interested to know what his like prophetic message is of like what's he trying to do? Is he just want some more assistance and help and trying to undermine the Sith, like Sidious, Vader? I don't know what really his end goal is at this point, because you're right, it does have similar mimics to the Ahsoka offer, right? And he was very much like a prophetic person. He's like, there's something coming. I don't know what it is yet, but we got to figure it out.
He's always saying that, isn't he? There's always something with him, with Maul.
And now he's like, my visions are like, I can feel, I can sense something. I'm like, what's the Force telling him here? I don't get it. I don't need to know the answer right away, but it's a really juicy thing that I just need to know more of. And like, give it to me like in season 2, folks. Like, but draw it out a little bit longer. But I wonder if that like, because basically, right, Rook Cass was like, let's get out of here again, and he's like, no, Devon's still here, and she's like, do you really still want that? She tried to kill you, and I do love the line where he's like, an admirable attempt, yes.
Yeah,
he loved it.
yeah, it's so him. It's so him. Yeah, it's one thing of I don't know if you watch too much of the sort of preamble and sort of promotional stuff and interviews that were all happening before the show was coming out, and at Star Wars Celebration last year, and also at just events leading up to this, Sam Witwer having a lot of interviews and saying a lot of things. And one of the things that sort of makes sense to me more now is, or not make sense to me, but I see it unfolding now, was his point of mentioning that Maul is in an interesting spot because he's not Empire and he's not Sith really, but he's this dark Force user.
Yeah.
And what does he know his goal? Does he know what he wants out of this? And I think you make that great point just before saying, like, why does he want this Padawan? Like, is it just so, he can
Just
feel like
extra manpower? Is Icarus not enough?
Like he just wants to force push things harder, or what does he want this for? And I think Sam really just wrapped it up quite nicely. Of just that does sort of come out in the show of seeing his point of view and his take on how the galaxy should be looking, and discovering his own take on that, and not just thinking insularly to, I just have to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi anymore. He's not thinking like that anymore. He's going, what is the Empire? What does this mean for me? Where do I fit in? And what am I going to do about it? And so that definitely rings true to what we're seeing and obviously talking about right here is because again, it's only been a year since all he was doing was just trying to kill Kenobi.
Yeah.
That was the thing. And then it was only recently he's like, oh, what if I get a bunch of syndicates and like, make this sort of squad. And then that, then Order 66 happened. So it couldn't come to full fruition. But now he's like, okay, let me get back on that train. Oh, even though the Empire's here, this whole thing that I kind of knew about, but I didn't realize it was going to look like this or act like this.
Mm-hmm.
How do we now navigate that? And I think that's why I'm very excited for these next few episodes to really see if they interact. We get a scene in a trailer where he cuts an ATST in half. So it's like, okay, so he must go to the surface at some point, and the Empire must meet him at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Really, where is that at? So, there's just this world of discussion we can have about it is so fun and so refreshing to really
Agreed.
get sink our teeth into, because it's just I don't know, as much, again, I've loved many of the projects that come out, especially in the last year or two, but nothing has just really grabbed me as hard as this is. There's just so much to this that we can really analyze, which just makes it such a good show.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a well to keep going back to, right? And
Yeah.
I did like your point there about how like it's crazy to think that a year ago, like he was figuring out like what a Shadow Syndicate could be. And if you take that, even I don't even know like technically when it happens, right? But like maybe a year and a half ago, he was kind of crazy. Maybe 2 years, whatever the timeline fits into all this
That's
stuff
so
here.
true.
But like,
he lost his mind. He only just back to the land of us here just now. Yeah.
What a different Maul from back then to now. Like it's quite a character arc and journey.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of the Empire, we get a little bit of a sneak peek at Lawson's ex-wife Drea in this episode, or set of episodes, I should say. She basically tells Riley to just comply with the Empire, and then everything will be a-okay. But it's clear that there's kind of more here that's going on beneath the surface, especially with that ex-husband dynamic there. So to speculate, do you think that the Empire would maybe cause the rift here between them and this marriage, or do you think it was something else? What are you thinking about the relationship between them at this point?
Well, first of all, I absolutely love that with one of the greatest, potentially greatest Star Wars shows ever made. One of the big talking points is like, how did this divorce happen? Like that's not a shade to your question. That's just a fact that we're all going, how did this happen? How did this split work?
Yes,
Who's
where
got
does this fit into the Maul of it all? He left the pizza boxes on the table.
Yeah. He's home late from work. Did he do that every night? Oh, like what is it?
That's right. He never cleaned up. He never did the dishes. He never showed up to Bodikin.
Is it his calf addiction? How many cups of calf is this guy having a day? Maybe that was it.
That's right.
But no, in all seriousness, this is a really interesting, and it's a very, dare I say, Andor style story, this element.
It's real life, yeah.
Very, very Andor. So I think the Empire does have to have some sort of role in it. I think it would be funny if it was like it ended up being his calf addiction. I think it has to be the Empire thing. Like that was the way it's been hinted at is storytelling wise definitely feels like, okay, this is leading up to like the reveal of like what she's doing, and Lawson disagrees with that, and so maybe in the end Lawson like just completely well he's already completely rejecting the Empire, really.
Oh yeah.
At this point he's might as well join the rebellion, buddy. Like you are all out just shooting stormtroopers right here. So that has to be a point. Maybe she had to be essentially long distance, I guess, in a sense. She was probably working for Empire. The Empire isn't on Janix yet, so she would have to go to other planets, other stations, work on a Star Destroyer. And maybe she wasn't home enough, things like that. I feel like the story is definitely gearing towards this. I think there's a bit sort of a opportunity here to again have this. See the success and interest of Andor and ISB agents and the ISB's kind of role within the Empire, not just the kind of stormtrooper story of the Empire. I think we could have one with her as well here. I wouldn't be surprised if she actually maybe even works on. Well, I think maybe Coruscant was mentioned. Maybe at some point in this, on rewatch, I was like, I remember trying to hear something about where she worked or where she was stationed. She definitely could be on Coruscant working for the ISB. Maybe she knows Deidre Miro at this point, or I think Deidre's a bit young or something. But she could. Or who was that old guy in Andor? That old ISB?
Which one? Partagast?
Partagast, yeah, like imagine animated Partagast like in this show. That would be a great little tie-in.
Thesis, please.
Yes, yes, please double that scene for me. So yeah, it's got to be that, and I think that's actually a great story beat. I think that's a great story point to have in this show. It's really cool.
That would be great too. I would love to just have a couple of scenes from her perspective of like what's going on from that vantage point to get just a glimpse into like what's the machinations going on with the Empire at this time, right? I'm curious because I don't know how high up she is. You know, like
Yeah.
she may just be some middle management pencil pusher kind of deal. Not enough in a position to make decisions on something. Like, who knows? Was she a part of the Republic and then it folded into the Empire? And then she kept her job, and Lawson was like, "Hey, I don't like what they're dishing out here. Like, I don't believe it." And then that could have caused the rift here, where she's like, "Hey, this is my job still. I like what I'm doing, and all that. So deal with it." I don't know. It could have been so many things, right?
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Watch it just be the calf addiction at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it probably isn't, but it'd be a little humorous to do that there. But yeah, it's interesting because with them not having a presence on Janix, that indicates potentially that she also like left in search of the Empire. You know, like she found a way off world and then went to some recruiting base and then signed up to do whatever job that she does there. And again, like she doesn't have that presence to make decisions, it seems. So like she doesn't have like an office on Janix and like didn't say like, hey, we need to have the Empire there so I can be close to home with the kids, right? It's I always joke like it's the opposite of like Anakin and Vader and Tatooine, right? Like so like the Republic had no presence on Tatooine, and then of course when the Empire comes around, Vader's like, there will certainly be an Empire presence on Tatooine.
All there, let's go. Yeah, that's it.
There, just in case, we will have lots of presence there. You never know. So I don't know. I found this to be a very fascinating subplot for some reason, and I hope that it. I mean, they devoted a lot of time to it, and I don't know where it's going to lead to. And much like what you talked about with like the Maul plan and the relationships that are going on there, like there's so much still to be discovered yet, and we're 6 episodes into this thing, and you know, still a little bit more to go here, 2 more weeks obviously. But yeah, I mean, the way that she when Riley was calling her and was like, and she's like, the camera just like zooms in on her and she's like, your father, like, oh, there's something there. I don't know what it is yet, but I want to know. Tell me. Brad Rao, please tell me.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, Brad Rao, if you listen to this, give us a call. We'd love to hear.
Totally.
It's even this just the whole how they did that scene, and that was the first time we met the mum, and but it was very intentional that we knew about her like a decent amount of she's not there. Riley wants to speak to her and to see her, and you know he makes a sly comment, when mum was around, and like just all these little notes, and even the conversation with Lawson and Two Boots they were in the car at one point and they were talking about it, and Two Boots going, we got to follow the Empire's protocol. And Lawson pointing out, the Empire's not like the Republic. They're not here to help us. They're going to take over everything. And Two Boots not, obviously understanding the nuance. And then even
he finds out
quite quite comedically, is this because of your wife? Is with the Empires that you don't want them here? Like that sort of sly. So it's like we're already primed to be like, oh, that's the lady. This is the mom. Oh, so I'm so with you there. The subplot is actually very intriguing of really what it means, and how did she get to where she is? Why isn't the Empire on Janix if this is probably where she's from? So there's so many questions. Brad Rao, come on, let us know.
Do you think that perhaps there could have been something involved with the informant that he has? I think her name is Soul. That's kind of like in the brothel bar that they have on this that he's visited once before, and he's like, oh, we go a ways back. Like, I'm like, they keep coming back to this character a couple times now. Maybe she got jealous and saw like, hey, he's going to his informants. He's living in this seedy underworld here. He's becoming more and more disconnected from home. So I'm gonna run too.
Oh, this is what we're talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is good theories. I like these theories. Yeah. That's an interesting one because, like, that informant. Is that her name? Sol.
I think so.
I really like this just little place, little destination we've created within the story. And I mean, within these episodes, they were used really interestingly, and the fact that Riley got to see this place was really interesting as well. But that's a great theory of like maybe the wife knew, but then would she not take Riley with her if she left him, kind of thing? Is what.
Oh, he got the custody battle.
Yeah, I'm like, where did they go for that?
You can't take him out of his school. He's in high school. He has all of his friends.
He's got to be in his like zone school. So
he can't miss Bodkin practice.
Yeah, that's it. He loves his Bodkin. Oh, classic. So there's surely something there. I mean, if it's not the wife knew or like didn't like it or something, there's obviously something with that little side plot for Lawson that is real interesting. Like, I can't wait to find out what really that connection was or is still.
Put in that one, folks. So we'll keep on ex-wife watch and see if anything else pops up on that narrative.
Ex-wife watch.
So Devon and Iko Diodaki both seek refuge from the Empire with Lawson and Riley. In your opinion, Hannah, was that short-sighted, knowing that potentially they could have put Lawson and his family in danger?
Ooh, I don't think so. Actually, I really don't think so.
Okay.
I think I initially wanted to say yes, but they didn't know Marrok was there. They had no idea that he was hanging about, and they would have someone like that good. Like I'm pretty sure he used forced psychometry to like figure out like who was who and what happened, like Marrok did. So I don't think they could really bet that they were being one, even followed by the Empire, but two, but it would be someone as good and like a force user inquisitor like Marrok. So I don't think it was ill-intentioned, really. I really think they were just like, oh yeah, we're no one's following us. Let's just scoot over here to this side of the planet and talk to these guys that we barely know. So I think it was okay. I think it was okay. I'll let that slide. Yeah, but I mean, it burned down their apartment, so it didn't end up right. So I kind
ultimately,
I kind of get the argument that it wasn't, but I think initially it was fine. Yeah.
In the choice that they made with the information that they had, yes, they made the right choice, because I'm going to agree with you on this front here, because like I would also think that with the kind of corpo that he is, that's the law, right? The Empire is not going to go to a person of the law. They're going to go to the seedy areas. They're going to try and find Maul in the hidden underground of Janix. They're not going to go to someone's apartment in broad daylight and try and see what's going on in there. And also, to your point, you made a great point, their observation about they don't know that Marrok is around Marrok. It's only in conversation that like Iko Diodaki is like, hey, you got interrogated by somebody? It really doesn't come out until that conversation. And then as they say it, that's when they start breaking the door down.
What an entrance.
Which it's just tragic, right? I mean, those poor pizza boxes. They didn't clean up for the guests coming in.
Come on. That's where really, I think the fire really took off with those cardboard pizza boxes. That's what really, the whole apartment in the end, I guess, burned down, but it's because of the pizza boxes.
I guess so. And also an apartment complex, too. The other people that are collateral damage in this.
I'm going to see what else happens. Like, is this the whole building? Like, do we need to turn the fire alarm on before we go here? Like, what are we doing here?
The Empire doesn't care about codes, and
you're right about that.
for all the administration they care about, when they're enacting their form of justice on people, they do not
smoke
abide
detectors
by.
Do not get checked. And
smoke detectors. I mean, on the Star Destroyers, they don't have railings. People probably just fall off all the time.
True. 100%.
It's just a big coding violation under every. I mean, the Republic would have scoffed at the things that they do.
It would never have been like this under the Republic.
Never. It's sad. Like, that's their home. I'm sure that's their mean, I hope it's their familial home. Maybe they had great memories there, or maybe that's divorced dad.
Maybe it's divorced dad home.
Oh,
Maybe
that's
dad
his bachelor
energy.
pad.
Hey, buddy,
Ooh.
come over. Yeah, that's probably
Oh, he has more furniture than I would expect for a divorced dad
Yeah, it's fair.
apartment.
It's
But oh well, hey, they do live in a big city though, so hopefully that it's the case of property is expensive, and he at least can afford to live in his jurisdiction, which is a good thing. Interesting. Yeah, I think they didn't know that they'd put him in danger, right? And they just thought they would find a safe spot and find passage out of there, and they made the best choices they could. That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. It's just sad that
It was such a great reveal though. Like the moment of this wasn't a great idea was just fantastic, and that sort of the repercussions of even just this decision in general, just for the rest of the episode, even while fighting, Devon and Lawson being like, what were you thinking? It was like, we didn't know. Like, oh my gosh. Like, just all the back and forth there was just made it so fun and so funny. And just what a terrifying, like, I was so genuinely shocked when I saw that red saber through the door. I was just like, oh, we are about to face it. Oh my word, we are getting into it. So
for a second, did you ever ponder that it could have been Maul?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm trying to think back to the moment of just my mouth.
Or were you just so like in shock? You're like, red lightsaber.
Yeah, I think I was just in shock. I think I thought it was the Inquisitor. I think I did think that. Or maybe I did think it was Maul. I'm not back on myself now. I can't even. I think I just was like, okay, who do we know right now that has a red lightsaber? It could be anyone. So, yeah, but it just what a great moment. And see, here's the point where at the top of the show, I mentioned that we've only covered like 3 days, but then things are just happening so fast. Like I feel like any other show, like in Clone Wars or like in Bad Batch, like this would take like episodes to build up to like just even happening, and this would happen like at the end of an episode, and it would be quite quick. But it was just like, oh no, we're here. Empire's here. Okay, we've got to go somewhere safe. Okay, we'll go to the apartment. We're in the apartment. Oh, the Marrok's here. Oh, let's jump on the. Like it was just bang, bang, bang. It was so fast from here. So it's slow pace, fast scenes. Maybe that's what I'm going for.
I think that's right. Slow pace and fast scenes. Faster, more intense.
Yeah, that's what we need
in the
to
sequences
know.
that we get.
That's what we need to know.
And I want to add that it's interesting for Riley's, like, I guess the character development that we get of him, because he lets both of them in, right? It's not like Lawson is there and then sees them. He's like, all right, come on in. We'll give you refuge. No, it's Riley that that helps out two strangers. Like he's never met them. He doesn't know who they are. And he's like, there's two people that need help and I'm going to do the best I can for them. Like, what great kudos to the parents. Like he learned that from somewhere. They should take pride in that, and I think that's a good win for the morality of this tale.
I absolutely agree.
And I did want to add one more thing on the when they're like escaping, right? I don't know about if like you have ever thought of like, what if like one of the, I think maybe it might have been like a Family Guy bit too, where when Obi-Wan does the like, you don't need to see our identification, that kind of that bit in A New Hope, and then they do that in this to some degree, and then the other stormtrooper comes over and he's like, hey, why'd you let them go? I don't know. They had their identification. I didn't need to see it.
I thought
right?
that. I did think this. I'm like, thank God that there's at least one stormtrooper being like, why did that just happen? Like, what do you mean?
Like, finally, one not inept stormtrooper.
Yes. It's like, give that guy a promotion. Yeah, there you go.
This is what Obi-Wan's talking about when he's like, their blast points are deadly.
Yes, it's just that guy. One
blast point.
It's so true though. No, but I love that scene, and I love that there was an element of that was also felt like, obviously it was a direct nod to A New Hope, but that the sequence of stormtroopers that we got, which was very minimal, it felt very Star Wars Rebels to me, especially the running through a city, like, running away from stormtroopers. I'm like, we're on Lothal right now. Like I'm watching the Star Wars Rebels premiere. Like, what is it? Not Siege of Lothal.
Siege of Lothal. Yeah.
Is that the first? Is that the opening one?
I think so.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm watching Star Wars Rebels here in a good way. So just had that energy a little bit there to me, especially just that stormtrooper humor in it. You know what I mean? It felt like that.
I think it's actually Spark of the Rebellion now I think about it.
Spark of the Rebellion. That sounds right. That sounds
Of course,
right.
Siege of Lothal will be season 2, episode 1.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's it. Yeah. You're right on. But yeah, that stormtrooper humor coming in there, I was like, oh yeah, this is so Rebels in a great way.
You're right. I did feel like a warm hug again in some way of like,
Like,
this is Ezra going through the bazaar on Lothal.
Back in 2015, all of a sudden, being like, oh, Star Wars Rebels, that's you.
Pulling up Disney XD.
That's
and,
it. Oh,
and
yeah, that's
watching
it. Those are the days. Oh,
Rest
man.
in peace, Disney XD, and also cable TV.
Oh, cable. You're almost back at cable, almost. We're all plugging in things at this point to subscribe to
Physical media. It's coming back too.
Coming back around.
Oh, what great days we were in. So eventually, Marrok does catch up to them, and then this offers Maul another opportunity to interact with Devon. So how do you feel if we're checking in at the end of this episode, or set of episodes, I should say? So we had, the introduction, we had a bit of the T sequence and all that, and last week, and then this week we have him coming in, saving the day kind of deal. How do you feel he's doing right now in terms of trying to seduce her to the dark side?
Great job. He's doing a great job. Oh, he could sell me anything. He could sell me a pen, this guy. Oh my word, he's really doing great. I'm convinced. I'm sitting here saying, oh, she should absolutely join him. Oh yeah, she's not at all reaching her full potential with Echo Darky. She needs to leave Darky. She needs to leave Uncle Darky and join Maul. Absolutely, I'm being convinced as the audience, knowing he's like, what is his like tally of people he's like ended their lives? It's insane, and I'm completely on board with her being his apprentice, which is so bizarre. So I think he's doing a great job. It's like, and that's probably one of the best parts of the show so far. And I think one of the things that makes this Star Wars, like this isn't a fantasy show. This isn't just some sort of teen fiction animated show. This makes Star Wars is this sort of element of these complex characters that are just so nuanced in the way they communicate and act. And it is to symbolize something and tell us something, but in its, insularly, like Maul is just so great at manipulation and making you feel safe when, you're not really safe with Maul, but he's like making her feel that trust. He's making her feel that safety. And of course she has extreme, like, all the first things she said to him, you're a murderer. You've done all these bad things. You're an evil person. And she knows all that, but then you get to this episode. There was a moment, I don't really know where it was, but I guess it was just before the fight that she had, with Maul and Marrok, where she hesitates and she's you can almost see it. And I love that they don't say it and that they don't make it obvious and they don't just make it dialogue or exposition, that it really is in this body language and this moment of hesitation and this moment of pause, and she's looking at what's happening. And she's going, you can see a tick over in her mind, this is not great as a Jedi. But Maul has gotten so in her head that the Jedi are no longer. They were too weak to survive. They can't survive. They don't really matter anymore. You need to become your own, Devon. Like, he's convinced her of that. And I do think that has worked. And in that moment, she's thinking back to her memory going, this guy's a murdering, crazy guy. I shouldn't join this guy. But in that moment, he's saved her just then. Yeah. He's told her that she can be more. She knows that if she helps Maul right now in this battle, in this duel, she could probably help defeat Marrok, who's trying to kill her. But Maul's not killing her. So, okay, I'm going to join the guy who isn't killing me to try and get the guy who's trying to kill me. You know what I mean? So I think he's done a great job. That's really all I have to say about that. Yes, he's done a great job. Convinced.
Yeah, I mean, like, how much longer can you resist the enemy of my enemy being my friend until eventually they're just your friend?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
kind of deal.
Yeah.
Which is so, it's so, like, I know they teased it with Ezra. They tried it, right? And they kind of didn't let that go. Like, they let it slide pretty quickly there. But here, like, this is a main plot point of this thing. And I just love how slowly and surely we're getting more and more. And knight in shining armor, he comes in, and I love that end line where he's like, that's the face of our true enemy. I think he said, I don't know if he says your or our, but I think if he says our, it's more impactful, I would say. Because then it puts them on the same playing field of like, we're both just surviving here, right? What I did before doesn't matter. You're all those labels and whatever you wanted to call me, that's in the past. And now I am this other thing. And we can be something else too. We don't have to be confined to Sith or Jedi. Both of those are Elseworlds now. We're in the underworld. We're doing our other thing. We're just trying to get some daily bread and enjoy ourselves here. And we have the strength, right? And I think it also is helpful that, Iko Deodaki had like he still has that like kind of wheezing chest from his battle from the last week with Maul. So he's kind of like one step behind on everything. So she's seeing like the strength right in front of her, and like, oh, Anakin 2.0 thing, right? Where it's like, oh, well, the power of the dark side is right there. And Maul is so well known for being that powerful force at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think he's doing darn good job, right?
Yeah.
He failed with Ahsoka. He won over Savage, but he didn't really have to try that hard.
That bro was just a meathead. He was just like, yeah, let's go, brother. Like that's all Savage did, really. That's kind of all that happened with him. One thing I wanted to add to this sort of how he's gotten her, and one thing that I find really just great writing, like great. And Matt Micknovitz is the head writer for the show.
Mm-hmm.
With credits and assistance from other writers as well, because I know Jennifer Corbett, who was the lead writer on Bad Batch, wrote the 5th episode, which I love. There was actually a few Bad Batch Easter eggs in that episode, which I love. But the writing for this this temptation of Devon that Maul is sort of inducing throughout the show. One of the symbolic things is food, which I find really interesting because I feel like as the audience, we are tempted with this at the start of the show when we get that delicious looking chicken palm. Oh boy, we're all tempted by the food. We're going, hey, this looks fantastic. We want to become a syndicate leader. If we get fed like that, that's great.
Especially when you're watching this at dinner time.
Oh, yes, I know. In Australia, it's like, man, I've had a chicken palm every night since then. I wish, actually. There's this kind of not undertone. It's a through line, ongoing. There's a word I'm going for. Ongoing metaphor, I guess, of food.
Yeah.
Where we're introduced to Ekodaki and Devon as they're hungry. We're just simple, or we're hungry, and Devon, goes to steal some pieces of fruit, and fails hilariously. And it was kind of a very simple scene to really open up with, but I think it was very intentional and important. And I think the whole Maul's almost inadvertently used that to say, we can feed you and take care of you here. Have this, what's something when you're cold and you're feeling, it's a bad day, rainy day, a hot cup of, whether it's a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, hot cup of tea curled up on the couch. That's a very comforting feeling. So I think there's this weird symbolism of him pouring her and having this little tea ceremony. I think that means something, saying here, have this warm comfort, have this warm, olive branch of comfort and safety. And even though it's not food related, but when she arrives to his sort of underground lair he's got here, our Mandalorian aides will take care of you. They're the best medics in the galaxy. So there's all these sort of notes of comfort and care, and the way that he essentially, I think that I can't remember the quote or the line that this happens, but there's some sort of insinuation of, if you're with us, we'll feed and take care of you. Mm-hmm. So there's sort of this mirroring of, okay, with your master, you're starving, you're hungry, and you're empty in your stomach, you're empty in your soul of who you are as Jedi. But with me, it's warm, it's comfort, it's food. I'll feed you physically, I'll feed your soul. Think of that. Have you thought of that?
That's incredible analysis, Hannah. This is what you come for here, folks.
This is what I'm here for, buddy.
We're on food watch now. What we forget ex-wife watch. Yeah. we're really on food watch. This is the important stuff here. What beautiful analysis there, right? This is that's the dichotomy of things, right? Come to us.
Amazing.
We have food. We will. You will never have to beg.
That's really what he's offering. That's really what he's offering.
You will have stability. You will have security. You will have housing, right? You are a powerful force out there in the galaxy, and you don't have to live like that.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Think of it. Maul is like, you know, what I would call Macca's, but in your language is McDonald's. You know, you're driving home from a long day of work, and there's a McDonald's on the way. You know that you have groceries at home, and then you know that you can feed yourself, and you know have whole foods, eat health, good, blah blah blah. But that Big Mac, that you know Big Mac sauce with nuggets, piece nugget sounds fantastic right now, and you especially
some fresh fries too.
And they're crisp Cokes at McDonald's.
A fresh Coke, sign me up.
How great does that sound? And so you know when you're hungry, when you're yearning for that, you know that's such a better option. Even though fundamentally it's like, oh yeah, well. That's not as healthy as the meal that I would cook for myself at home, I guess, or not as nutritious, I would say. That's really the point that Devon's at. She's going, I know there's nutritious, you know, fulfilling things as a Jedi following Master Darky, but I'm so hungry and empty right now, and Maul just looks so good. A Big Mac just sounds good, so good right now. It's that temptation. Really.
Well, you've got a great, again, the temptation there. It's an incredible analogy because I'm getting religious references here in my head too, right? It's the Garden of Eden. It's the forbidden fruit. It's the apple, right?
Exactly.
It's all right there, right? The forbidden red apple fruit is Maul saying like, hey, take and eat. Take and eat. This is for you. Wow. This is
mind blown.
My mind is blown. The rest, fresh analysis, fresh look at the rest of the season before and after, right? This is amazing.
Thank
and
you.
I have one last question for you here, Hannah.
Yes.
I don't know how we can top that, but let's try. Much like the other episodes in this season, this set ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Who is Marrok contacting? Who's he talking to? Who do you think he's talking to here?
Well, my personal opinion is it's 100% Vader. But I just recently did a live show talking to the live chat about it, and I did a poll, and it came up 50-50 that other people thought it was going to be Palpatine. 50-50, and I was like,
do you think Marrok has a direct line to the Emperor?
No, and I was like, what are you people on? No way this is Palpatine, because I said Palpatine is the ultimate delegator. He just delegates anything he has to do. That's kind of how yes, he's powerful. Yes, he can use Force lightning. Yes, he's smart. But he's smart because he delegates everything that he's got to do. Yeah. And inquisitorious stuff, killing off all the Jedi. You know, he's this incredibly powerful Sith Lord. He ain't going around killing all the Jedi. He didn't even go to the temple himself. He didn't do anything of ending the Jedi Order. He didn't do any of that. He said, hey, thank God, Vader, you're here. You're Vader now. 6 o'clock, can you pop to the temple and get this sorted for me?
He couldn't even take out Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to do anything. So no way is he talking to Palpatine. But I was just so shocked by so many people really going, oh yeah, that was Palpatine.
That's a big leap.
Yeah, that's my opinion. So I'm very certain it's Vader, and I think it makes sense, and I think it'll be very exciting. Even though I sort of know it, kind of it can't really be anyone else, because if it's the only other option really to me is the Grand Inquisitor, but
could be, yeah.
I feel like they wouldn't refer to him as Lord. Like that would be a letdown, if anything, if we're like teased of, what do I do, my Lord? And then it just ends up being the Grand Inquisitor. I think that wouldn't be as wow for people, because unless you've seen Rebels, really, I guess, and Kenobi at this point, you're not going to be as wowed if it's the Grand Inquisitor. It's got to be Vader to have this kind of cool moment, I think.
Yeah. And then Vader's like, we'll send another Inquisitor potentially, because we know there's another one coming in this.
Yeah, I really think that's just what next episode is. Just we see
you need some backup.
Yeah, Vader's like, okay, I'll send another one. Let's see what happens. So that's got to be.
Do you think at some point? Oh, because we know Maul survives. Do you think Vader gets involved? If it is Vader, right? Do you think? I imagine that Marrok and I think the second brother. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying so hard. Like my homework for myself right now is like flashcards of like 11th brother, 3rd sister, 6th sister. Like trying to remember these Inquisitors.
There's so many.
Right. Yeah, I think I really am okay if Vader physically shows up on Janix or not.
Mm-hmm.
I would be excited to see him. Animated Vader looks cool. The sort of rendering of the Vader look in specifically Clone Wars season 7, which I think is the most.
You're right. They did do the character for that.
Yeah, like they have a mock there ready to use, and they'll just make it in this sort of a little bit different style that they've used for the show. Would look cool. I think him just sort of not even fighting would even just be as cool. Have him enter, say some things. Maybe he talks to someone would be awesome. But I think the show clearly stands on its own confidently and well enough that he doesn't even have to show up. It would be cool if we have this maybe just a hologram sort of check-in that Marrok does this check-in, we get to see him talk a bit. I think that would be sweet. But so I'm really sitting on the fence with this one, so it's not a thrilling take. But either way, it's like that's cool. He's on the phone or he's actually on Janix. I think either way would be very, very cool. So I'm happy with it.
You're selling me here on the Vader of it all, because I would have probably been like before this conversation, I think I would have just been like, I think Grand Inquisitor just makes sense, right? Because I don't know if Marrok would have a direct line to Vader. That's the other thing I would say to that point too, is like, I feel like there's a hierarchy, right? Like go to the Grand Inquisitor and then, because Vader's also a busy guy. He's in his back to tank and doesn't get bothered by Vinay too often.
That's true.
So I'm like, maybe that's the case, but I think maybe for like those select few, right? We saw that list in Kenobi of like, here are the top 5 that are still kind of out there that we know of. Yeah. And with Obi-Wan being on the top of that list, like if there's anyone that's kind of in that peripherally, maybe even a top 10 at this point, if there's anybody in that kind of space, you go, use the red phone and call me directly. And that would be interesting.
Yeah. That's actually a great, if it is the case that, it is usually they just report to the Grand Inquisitor and that really is the run of things. That is actually a great explanation of how this could work if it is Vader, there is this list of and Maul would be on that list. Like, obviously, like you said, like Kenobi, but like Maul, if they're like, oh, he is alive, he is out here. I would imagine it's a straight, okay, dial. What's the number for V on fixed phones? VADR. Dial, and then it goes straight to him. I think that could definitely be the case. We might even see that happen, being like, why didn't you come to? Maybe the Grand Inquisitor gets involved in the show. I don't know. Maybe why didn't you come to me? And then maybe we see a bit
politics.
of Inquisitor. A little interpersonal like Inquisitor beef there, because I think. I wonder how Marrok feels with that sort of bird skull. I think he's maybe the 11th brother. Maybe he's that guy. Who cares? Who can know? I wonder if Marrok feels, I don't know, patronized that he was sent. Saying, "Hey, Vader, Maul's here," and Vader goes, "Okay, you'll have to have someone else. Like, you can't do it on your own. Have someone else."
Ooh.
Is that
Be a deep cut.
Does Marrok feel like belittled by that? I don't know. It's
and we're assuming this is still a live Marrok, right? Like,
yes,
we don't really know about
Green Mist. When does Green Mist Marrok happen? Really, that is the question that we need answered.
Is it because of Maul and then
Brad
there's some magic?
Where are you, buddy? Brad Rao, answer this for us. We'll hopefully kind of see a bit of an answer to that, or just allude to an explanation of what happens there.
I hope we find out sooner than later. I got a feeling maybe next week we'll get a little more. We'll get some more Food Watch. We'll get some Inquisitor Watch. We'll get some Divorce Watch. It's all on the table.
Those are the 3 things that we need from this show. That's all we need. That's
4 more episodes and some answers to those big 3 questions here, and some more Maul along the way. It'd be great.
Oh, right on. Exactly what I want.
Well, Hannah, this has been a fantastic episode, all discussing all things from episodes 5 and 6 from Maul Shadow Lord. Where can the folks find you online if they want to continue the conversation or just check out the cool things that you're doing?
Absolutely. Well, first off, yeah, thank you so much for having me on. This has been such a blast. I don't even realize how much I have to say about it until I sit down with someone like this. I'm like, wow, I do really think about this a lot. So it's been so fun to really discuss and get into all the details, especially the divorce reasons. Was really plagues me why that happened. If you want to find out more Maul, which is really hard to say. If you really have to say that. More Maul content. You can find me at the Raeside, that is RAE side, over on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. But I'm mainly doing the live shows over on YouTube. If you want to come along, doing live shows, live chats. It's very fun. Lots of fun discussion happens over there. So that is where you can find me.
Fantastic. Yeah, folks, go join. If you're not already, go join those live chats so you can defeat the Palpatine answers that come up.
Yes, prove me right. I was like, who are these Palpatine believers? What do they say?
People must really want to see more Sheev in the world,
yes.
I guess.
More Sheev action, please.
I don't know. I feel like his minimal use in Bad Batch was spectacular. And maybe just the less is more approach is best for him. Let's use Vader and the Grand Inquisitor and some of those other characters a little bit more before getting to the big bad of it, because we already saw him fight Maul and was like, you've been replaced, right? That's the whole Clone Wars thing. But I think there's a juicy aspect for the Vader too, right? About like, oh, I can defeat a former number 2 again, right? I've already taken out Dooku. I've heard about Obi-Wan all those years beaten up on Maul and his great victory and conquest. Yeah. He actually didn't win. That was a failed victory. I can best him.
The real reason he wants that revenge is you tried to splatter me with your speeder 20 years ago. I was just running along the stands and you tried to run me over, Maul, so I'm going to get you.
Get down, Anakin, get down.
Yeah, that's it. So that's got to be it.
That's right. It's all because of a little incident on Tatooine. Much like all of Star Wars is, right? It's all because of incidents on Tatooine. It just it's a circle. It's a ring theory. It all comes back on itself here. It's poetry. It rhymes. Well, folks, thank you very much for listening to this episode of Force Ghost Conversations. Guess what? We'll be back next week with a brand new episode talking about all things Maul Shadow Lord, episodes 7 and 8. Who knows what's going to happen? To find out soon. But thank you all for joining. Of course, look forward to chatting about everything with a brand new guest next week as well. So until then, may the Force be with you. Take care.